greet you and welcome to Joy Business Masterclass. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business. Masterclass comes your way every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. runs all the way through to 2:15 p.m. here on your superstation Joy 99.7. My name, as always, is Yaw Anim Barnafo, and I'm glad to be your host for today's edition of Masterclass. A rather rainy Wednesday, and we're excited to bring you today's edition of Masterclass. Last week, we talked about lending and credit risk in the digital age. For those of us who missed that show, the video is available on our Facebook page. By all means, do go back there and you can watch all of that conversation. Lending and credit risk in the digital age. In that conversation, we're privileged to have Kwame Osebunsu, who's become a personal friend of mine, senior consultant assurance at Deloitte, who talked to us about some pointers we needed to know when it comes to lending and credit risk. Kwame, a very good afternoon to you if you're listening, and to all the Deloitte family. Thank you for sharing those thoughts with us for the last couple of weeks. We're super grateful that you came through. And so here are the two things that Kwame shared with us here on that conversation, which sort of stuck with me. Just by way of recap for that show, I'll just mention these two things. One of the things that Kwame shared with us here under that topic of lending and credit risk was that no matter how nice a business idea is, and no matter how ever profitable it is or it sounds, it cannot be realized if there is no capital to fund it. No matter how nice a business idea is, or however profitable it is or it sounds, it cannot be fully realized if there's no capital to fund it. The second thing Kwame talked about was that there is always the likelihood that the borrower will not repay his loan to the lender based on many possible variables. And I remember when we talked about that, we shared the thoughts that sometimes when people come to borrow from you, they need funds. The attitude and the posture is different because they're in a situation of need. But when they have to pay back, sometimes there are people who borrow and they are able to pay back, but they'd rather plow back the money and reinvest it and ask you to wait. That shows some level of being inconsiderate if you look at it. But let's all work together. Once you borrow, please make sure you pay. It is because people borrow and they don't pay. That is why all these terms and conditions become more difficult for successive borrowers. That's why we have non-performing loans. The only way we can push economy and push business is that we should make funds available for people to be able to generate new ideas and go out there and do business. But when you borrow, please pay. When you borrow, please pay. There's an interesting statistic that women are more likely to pay back the loans that they take than men are. Please don't come after me, the men. I'm not the one who said it, but I think there's research to show that women are more likely to pay back loans that they take than men are. Let's all try and pay back our loans. This afternoon, we're moving into another area of our conversation. We're going to be looking at collaboration for success. Collaboration for success, driving productivity through teamwork for internal service excellence. In everything that we do, if you're not doing it alone, I suppose one of the few things that you can do alone is when you are sleeping or when you are eating. But even when you're eating, you can eat with people. Almost everything we do across industry, across fora, across all endeavor is done with other people. And we find that when you do things together with people, the output is far better and greater and stronger than when you do it alone. Today we're going to be having that conversation to see how we can apply the principle of collaboration for success in everything that we do. Like we always do here on Masterclass, we bring you renowned Ghanaians who are very well versed in their fields of endeavor to share thoughts with us pro bono, things you'd have otherwise had to pay for as a short course online and actually pay some dollars for it. But we're bringing you this information free here on Masterclass. Multimedia brings that to you every Wednesday. Our resource person for this afternoon is a multilingual customer experience expert with over 17 years of rich experience in the CX space, which spans across several African countries. She also boasts of a total of 25 years in the corporate landscape. She has excelled in diverse roles within some international and multinational organizations, with expertise that spans customer experience management, strategic management, consumer banking, programs coordination, project management, corporate communications, training, and administration. She also holds various academic certifications, notably an executive MBA in strategic management from the Paris Graduate School of Management and a degree in translation, English, French, and Spanish from the University of Ghana. She also has a certificate in customer experience management from the University of Cranfield School of Management in the United Kingdom. She has effective leadership in call center management, C3 Africa. She's also got leadership certificates in customer service from the Institute of Customer Service Professionals, Ghana. She's done some work with KPMG Customer Experience and has certification for that too. She is also the CEO and founder of Laurel Consult, a private customer experience consultancy, and is a strong advocate for best CX practices and also runs training programs for corporate organizations. I'm already tired reading the CVs. One of those CVs that when I grow up, I want to be like her. But that's what we do for you here on Masterclass. We bring people who are worth your time, She's a certified management consultant. She's also a trainer. And for the rest of her CV, please go to her profile on LinkedIn. My resource person for this afternoon is in the person of Mrs. Laurenda Addy. Laurenda, this is your CV there.
Yeah.
You tire me. But we're excited to have you.
I know, right?
We're
Thank you so much.
I think that one of the things that people say about Ghana on the international scene is that Ghanaians are very hospitable. But I also read a report that says that as much as we're hospitable, our customer experience, which used to be called customer service, I can't be really.
Yes.
We could do a lot better than we're doing.
Yes.
And that's because sometimes people do not fully understand what it is about. It's interesting that for you professionals in that field, you've stopped calling it customer service. Now you're calling it customer experience. And it takes me to what Maya Angelou said, that people will forget what you told them. People will forget what you gave them, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Precisely.
So the experience is important.
Precisely.
I say to people that when you come to work in the morning and you sit on the radio, the person listening to you becomes your customer. But when you walk across the street at lunchtime to buy that bottle of kinky, you become a customer to the person. So who is the customer?
Everyone
it's the
is
man
a
in
customer.
The mirror, isn't it? Preparing for this conversation, I also went online to look at what a few people have said. People of renown, people who have done business, people in industry. This one is from Edward Everett. He says, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. But working together is success. That's from Edward Everett. There's another one here. Let me just read that one and then I'll hand over to you completely. This one is from Henry Ford. Henry Ford said, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. This one is from Helen Keller. Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Collaboration for success. Looking at productivity and helping our businesses. What can we learn today? And we're streaming live on Facebook. Laurenda has obliged us some wonderful slides. I went through those slides and I doubt I'll be able to go through all of them here on the show. But please go to our Facebook page and watch us live. For those who are driving, please don't watch while you drive. We want you to drive safely. It's raining out there today. The roads are slippery. And when we get interactive, we'll open those phone lines and you can be a part of that conversation as well. Collaboration for success, driving productivity through teamwork. Laurenda,
thank you very much.
Lay it all on us.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to be on the
Indeed.
show today. And I think that we're going to have a very fruitful conversation. Now, you have set the tone on customer experience, on customer service, and the fact that you can't do everything by yourself. So we are focusing today on collaboration for success. Now, driving productivity through teamwork for internal service excellence. Now, so we're a bit of trying to leverage, trying to leverage team dynamics to be able to drive internal service. And we know that internal service is everything. Now, if you want a healthy organization, you need to fix the issues within. Now, internal service must be excellent. Otherwise, it affects external service, it affects your bottom line, it affects everything. And so it starts from internal service. And we're going to talk about how that, in line with collaboration, how that works.
When you say internal service, what you're looking at here essentially is that if, let's say, you're that company across the street who sells shoes, or who, let's say, offers, let's say, a massage, or who offers, let's say, a haircut, it's the people in your team offering that service together as a team of people and how they interact with each other to the extent that it affects the service they offer
to the external customer. Precisely.
Right.
So most organizations are structured in a way that we have different departments, different teams. Most organizations also have back office teams, front office teams. But what we are saying is that collaboration amongst all these teams will promote good internal service, because there should be some kind of synergy, there should be a handshake, between all the departments, so that we are all speaking the same language. So we are all working towards one common goal as an organization. Now, to achieve that common goal, teams must work together collaboratively. And that's what we're going to talk about. And how does that impact your service internally? Because if internal service is good and people are happy, people are treating colleagues well, people are being responsive, people value each other's work and their space, and we all understand that your work affects my work and that I depend on you and that there are interdependencies, then there's a healthy environment, and that is what affects the service internally. Now, ultimately, and we'll come to that will affect external service by all means, because what you do within is what reflects to your external customers. So that's a bit the kind of conversation we're going to have.
You cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly. So internally, if the issues or the service issues internally are not really fixed, we can't serve our customers well, because you see, we see the staff or colleagues as internal customers, and so the same way you treat your internal customers is the same way you would treat the external customers. So let's fix within, and let's have collaborative approach to what we do internally, and then we can serve our customers.
So, I mean,
well.
if I understand you correctly, what you're saying, essentially bringing it down to simple language, I mean, I'm not a customer service professional, is that internal temperature or internal collaboration is directly proportional to external experience for the customer. They are not mutually exclusive. Because if I don't do it internally properly, then it affects everything. So if I walk into a company where the phone rings 8 times and the front desk executive is sitting there twiddling her thumbs, is that symptomatic of something that's going on in there?
That has to do with attitude. So
right.
Internally, attitudes affect the way people treat their colleagues. So people have different attitudes, and if we don't have that customer-centric culture within, people have attitudes that are not acceptable, and that affects service delivery one way or the other.
Right.
But we're looking at key terms here. We're looking at collaboration, we are looking at productivity, we are looking at teamwork, and we are looking at internal service excellence. Now, let me just broach the subject a bit. So collaboration is simply working together to achieve a common goal beyond just cooperating on tasks. Now, we are working together to achieve a common goal. Like I said, every organization has a goal or a vision. And so everyone in your own small way, what are you doing to help the organization achieve that goal? Now, we all have to come together collaboratively to meet that goal. And so I'm depending on you and you are depending on me, so that we can all achieve for the bigger picture, right? That's how it works. So productivity is also how efficient are we, in what we do. So I believe that when there's collaboration, we become efficient, because everyone, if I'm reliant on you for my job, you do your part, I do my part, and so we become productive, right? And then the other word is teamwork. Now, teamwork, like you said, no one can do things on their own. We all, we depend on each other. So teamwork here is also very key, and it's a combined action of a group. So what action are we taking as a group to also drive our goals?
Right.
Then internal service excellence also talks about the high standards of service provided within an organization to support operations. So what standards do we have internally in terms of responsiveness, in terms of how we reply our emails, in terms of how we pick our calls, in terms of how we support other departments with information they need for their job. So standards internally is what promotes good internal service excellence. So those are the key words that we have here. So we're going to go straight away to the main conversation. And first of all, collaboration, I want to look at it in like threefold. Sometimes people say, oh, it's just like, oh, collaborate. It's not just like a buzzword. It's not just like a term, but really it brings success. And like I've talked about, once we all collaborate, at the end of the day, it will yield results, and we'll all see the success, right? Now, when we collaborate, it enables pooling of skills and diverse viewpoints, because everyone has their different strengths, different skills.
True.
And so I bring my strengths on board, you have yours, and then together we become a stronger team. So
somebody once said, bring only your strengths, don't bring the other things.
Don't bring the other thing, exactly. So bring your strengths, I bring my strengths. So pulling together all our strengths, diverse views, diverse perspectives, and that makes us stronger as a team. So that's a bit about collaboration. And then it also drives internal service, like I spoke about that, and I won't go back to that, because what we do collaboratively help us to enforce our standards within. Right. So it enhances creativity and innovation because everyone is bringing their views on board and everyone's view is respected. There's creativity. There is innovation because everyone has different ideas that they bring on board, and everyone's area, everyone is being supportive to the other, and so we all come together and it brings creativity. We are able to do things when we come together collaboratively, and that's where the success comes in. And then it also promotes a good culture, integrated culture. So once we are collaborative, that culture of teamwork remains in an organization. So people know that in this organization we depend on each other, we are reliant on each other, and we are always ready to assist each other. We are supportive of each other, we are responsive. So it becomes gradually like a culture that we have in the organization. So that's a bit of an introduction.
Like a learned culture.
Yes, exactly. That's a bit like an introduction. So let's look at teamwork in various areas. Now, what are the elements of teamwork? Normally, when we talk about teamwork, there are 4 areas that come to mind, or 5. We do look at communication. Now, how well do we communicate as a team? How well do we respond to emails? How well do we share information? How well do we do follow-ups with our different team members? Because we need to reach out to people, let them know what's happening. So sharing information, communication, responsiveness on your emails, on phone calls is very key in terms of communication. So that's in terms of teamwork. Right. So those are one of the key elements of teamwork, and it's very important that we communicate, because if, for instance, you are doing a department is relying on you for a job and you have not communicated on timelines, clear timelines, or there are delays and you haven't communicated, now there's misunderstanding, and then it brings a little some issues. So, but if there's clear communication, that there are clear expectations, everyone knows what to expect and when to expect it. Right. Okay. And it also brings, there's trust and respect. Now, teamwork, one of the key elements is trust and respect. Once we're in a team and there's respect, there's trust, people respect each other's role or what they do. Now, I'm a frontliner, you are a back office person. I deal with the customers directly. Now, I respect that what you do, your area of work, right? I respect that if I don't provide you with some information, you probably might not be able to serve the customer. So let's respect each other's role, and also making them feel that what they do is also important. That sometimes that people feel that what they are doing is more important than others in a team. But everyone, has a role to play for the bigger picture. So respecting each other's role is also very key when it comes to teamwork. And then there's the issue of diverse skill sets, which is we talked about, different perspectives. People have different skill sets. Now, we don't downplay someone else's skill set. We need everyone on board to make the success. We need everyone on board. So every skill set is needed. So all hands on deck. No matter which area you specialize in, that's the beauty of teamwork. Because you can do what I can't do, and I can do what you can't do. So together we can do more.
And I think as you speak, for me, the best example in my mind's eye of collaboration and teamwork is when we see athletes run the quartet or the relay race.
Exactly.
And they put some are very good, strong starters. Some are good finishers. Some are very
different
good.
Strengths.
Indeed.
Yes. So that's a different skill set. So I think the other thing is also our shared goals and visions. Now, to be in a team, we have to have shared goals and visions. You cannot be in a team and oppose a vision or a goal. You must be you must accept that vision and that goal to be able to drive it together with a team. Now, you will be the bad nut if you don't agree with what is going on. So visions and goals is very important. Once you agree to be part of this team, now you need to align with the goals. If you don't align, then it means you are the odd one out, and so you can't even flow.
Yeah.
It is when you don't align that you start opposing everything, and that's when you can't even bond with the team. Yeah. So I think aligning with visions and goals is also very important.
I'm trying to resist the urge to be naughty, but see, there are those people in the team who everything you say they have an opinion.
You'd always find such people.
So how do you think we don't?
And then
I don't know,
and they don't know
but I know that
say.
This is not it.
Exactly.
But that's their contribution. So what do you do to them?
No, so
they are non-conformists.
But in the beginning, that's why when visions and goals are being set, you need everybody's buy-in. And so depending on how visions are formed, I think that people must be brought on board when decisions are being taken. Now, when people feel part of a decision or setting of goals, they they click. But when some people are left out, they try to make a case that, well, I didn't know about this. I don't agree. But I think in every team, visions and goals must be decided in the team, or people must be roped in at the decision making, at the goal setting stages, so that people feel involved. Some people will just oppose because they were not involved, and simply because, well, I think that's not fair. But if you get buy-ins from the beginning, I think that people will align.
I think it's very instructive that you say that. And let me just rehab this for our business owners who are listening. You know, sometimes the most difficult and the most deviant people in your teams are doing it for a reason.
Exactly.
Maybe they feel excluded. Maybe they feel that, you know, you want them to go in a certain way and you're not listening to them.
Exactly.
And you find that when you finally get their buy-in, the energy with which they object is tempered by the reverse responsibility to contribute.
Exactly.
You see, so if you have to contribute and you don't have such a brilliant idea, then when it comes to opposing it, tone down small. You see what I mean?
So they really don't have much to offer, but simply because they think that, well, I was involved, so I oppose. There are people who like
it's very instructive that you say that.
But I think that shared goals and vision is very important. We all must align, and that's the only way, and that's one of the key elements of teamwork. Because otherwise, because we are going towards a common goal, and so someone cannot go a different direction, and otherwise we won't succeed. I mean,
otherwise, they become a load to the team.
Exactly.
Because they're not leaving the team; they're there.
Exactly.
So you might as well get them to come in the same direction.
And they are the ones who cause the friction in the teams, because always they're opposing and there are issues here and there. And then, So I think the last one I want to talk about, key elements, is accountability. Now, in a team, we are accountable to each other. And so whatever you do, you're accountable for it. We all have our different roles within the organization, within the team. So you are accountable for what you do. Now, for us to be able to have effective teamwork, everyone is answerable to what they are supposed to do. So accountability is very key. Now, I have a role. Let's say I am a client service officer. I am accountable to serve customers at the front line very well. That is what I'm supposed to do, and so there are standards that are set for my role. I'm supposed to meet those standards. If I don't, then it affects the whole chain, right? Or let's say I'm at the back office. I have to provide information to the front office for them to serve the customer properly. If I don't do that, I'm accountable to that. If I don't do that, it means that I am hindering them from delivering, performing their task. So we all have accountabilities as a team, and I think that people must be held accountable. And that's where we have sometimes some organizations will have sanctions. And also, I think one area we should also look at is service level agreements, SLAs in place. Some organizations will have SLAs that's a 10-around times. So that's accountability as well, because I'm supposed to deliver this thing in 48 hours. That's my standard. I'm accountable to it. And so if it delays, I have to explain, why didn't I deliver in 48 hours? Those are my turnaround times and I didn't meet it. So accountability is also very key in team, because once you do that, it's affecting the next person's job.
Indeed.
Exactly. And ultimately it's going to affect the customer, because we have given the customer a certain turnaround time. Now, if you don't do your part, it affects the person serving the customer to also delay in responding to the customer. So that's a whole kind of change.
It is indeed, and it's so interdependent, because I will come to attitude. I'm sure later you talk about attitude, but for example, if you have, let's say, discourse within the team, and someone sends a document, let's say at 5:30, and the person's supposed to go home at 5:30, and he says, I didn't see it because I had closed. And the transaction needs to go because the customer is expecting or is going to incur a great loss if that transaction doesn't go. Internal discourse can affect the customer and sometimes bring repercussion to the company. And so, I suppose the point I'm making here is that we should be mindful of our localized or individual discrepancies so that it doesn't affect
personal issues. Yes. And that's one key, another area, because you need to seek the interest of everyone. You need to put aside your issues, because you are in a team. You are not working in isolation, and that's what people forget. You are not working on your own. You can't be your own boss when you're in a team. You can't work in silos. You have to comply.
Indeed.
You have to comply. You have to be accountable for what you're supposed to do. So no attitude should affect what you're supposed to do.
Indeed.
And that's accountability. No personal issues you have, because remember the bigger picture. It's not about you. It's about the ultimate goal of the organization.
Yeah.
And so whatever issues you have should not affect it.
Yeah.
Even if it's personal issues between you and someone, it shouldn't work aside from personal issues. So that's
The job first.
the job first. Yes.
You know, I'll tell you a funny joke. Back in the day, I used to work in a certain place. I'll be as big as possible. And if you ever annoyed someone on the shift, they'll say to you, "This is my job. I'm going to finish my job. Meet me at the car park at 5:30." You know?
Yeah, that's good. So
You know?
it means that I reckon that at the workplace,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to
Yeah.
do. When we close, we can have that conversation.
Yeah.
And
I'll put my Christianity aside.
and that's the way to go, because on the job I need to deliver.
Exactly.
But if you're going to disturb me, you wait. We can talk about that later. And that's a good approach, because you don't want that to influence what you're
Not
doing.
that we're encouraging them to fight, but we're saying that if you can put it aside, it's good. Big picture. Keep your eye on the ball. Okay.
Okay, so I want to talk briefly about how we can work effectively in teams. Now we are looking at collaboration. We are looking at how collaboration can affect success of an organization, positively and all that. So how can we do it better in teams? There are some key pointers I'll look at. Now, sometimes we need to find security in relationships. As in a team, let's find security in your relationships. Because if people are instead of in your role, because bonding is very key. People like to be protective of their roles. People like to, build an empire around what they're doing. So people wouldn't even want to release information because this is my space. I don't want to give that information to someone. It can't work that way. Don't find security in your role, because the role is the role, but what goes into it and what you need to do to support others is very important. Relationship is key. Now, once you have good relationship with everyone in the team, or the various teams, you all come together, it brings better results. But if you are trying to be protective and look at roles, or maybe I'm the manager and they are subordinates, you go wrong at a point, because you are too conscious of what role you hold and overprotective of your space, and so you don't allow for sharing. You don't allow for you are trying to preserve your you know what I'm talking about. So that is very, very important when it comes to team. Now the other thing about team is feedback. Now constructive feedback is very good, but sometimes in teams, when we don't take feedback, it's something that can affect the team ultimately. Now constructive feedback helps us correct what went wrong, but you find that in some teams people will not take feedback very well, and then they are upset because you give feedback, but this feedback goes a long way to shape us as a team. And so whatever feedback I gave you, is we should use it actually to improve the team's performance. Not to it's not personal, it's not the feedback has come about because you're on that role. It's not about you. It shouldn't be taken personal. You understand? So I think that
some people do.
Oh yeah, most people would do, but you see, also I think that the way feedback is given is very important. So that's also another side of it. How do you communicate that feedback to the person? And it's a constructive. Do you provide solutions, or do you give recommendations of what the person should do to improve, or you're just criticizing? So that's also another area. So it's both sides. So feedback is very key. Now, the strength of a team is measured by how well it handles disagreements and criticisms. Now, amongst the team, things will happen. And also, when there are other departments, you work in a big organization where there are a lot of departments, you see maybe one department having a lot of issues, and everyone is speaking against that department that this is going wrong. Now, we want to look back and find out what's going wrong, why everyone is talking. You want to look back and assess what you're doing right. So sometimes some organizations will do internal surveys that will allow people to give feedback about various departments and what they're doing well with it. That's very important information that we can use to correct. That will help the organization move forward. Because unless you're just collecting feedback and not even using it, but once that feedback is being used and corrective measures are put in place, I think that it goes a long way to improve and bring some sanity in the system.
Right.
So another very important thing about teamwork is how well do you accept people who outperform you? Sometimes you think you're a star, but hey, there might be a superstar somewhere. But people feel a bit uncomfortable when they see other people doing better than they're doing. But you see, we are all working together. So what you have and what I have, we bring it together and we all move ahead. So can we accept if people are performing? Let's learn from what they're doing
And not be overly competitive.
exactly. We need to learn from each other, because you might know something I don't know. Why don't I come and ask you how you did it, instead of rather being a bit some envy comes in and all that. So that's another area. People will outperform you, because you're not you can never, you won't be the best every time. So people will do better than you. People will be praised in the team. Let's all rally behind people who are doing well and push them. That's the way to go.
Exactly.
So the high performers, we all have to rally and acknowledge them. Probably find out what they do, learn from them, and that's a team thing. So we all want to be like you. We all want to excel. So teach us what you do. But it doesn't happen in our setting. It's something that people really would are not happy about. Especially when somebody just walks in. Maybe there are people in the team who have been there for a while. Somebody walks in and is doing very well.
It's a newbie.
And then people are so uncomfortable.
But when did you join the company?
But the person has some experience probably that you don't have.
Exactly.
So
exposure you don't have. Yes.
So just join forces with the person. But don't.
I know we have a lot of information to share. I'll let you share for the next 2 minutes, and then we'll get interactive so that our listeners can also be a part.
So let me just rush through then.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm sure we'll have the chance to even elaborate more when we get interactive. So
problem solving is very key in teams.
Right.
Things happen amongst teams. You have to solve problems, difficult problems.
Is conflict a bad thing?
Conflict is not a bad thing. It happens, but how you resolve it is the most important thing. And I think that is key. Conflicts will happen in organizations. So the approach you use in resolving it is what really matters. Yes. So problem solving is also very key. Now, once problems are left unsolved, it becomes a little, But let me give some red flags about teams. When the team breaks into factions, when you're teams and you break into factions, it brings problems. The team, one side is going this direction, and that's where the vision is split. So people think this, other people are thinking this way, others are going this direction. So that's something that we must watch. And then lack of well-being in team members. We need to care. Care and concern is one of the main areas when it comes to teams. We need to care about each other, concern about what each other is doing, and show that we are interested in this other person's job. I mean, at lunchtime, ask your colleague what they do, find out how they do it, because you might be very prejudiced about that department because you heard something, but have you taken time to even understand their job, how difficult it is, just.
These people here, they don't do anything.
Exactly, but listen to them and see what they do. You might understand, and you be surprised that you appreciate what they do better. So I think sometimes, out of working in silos and not even getting to know people closely, we think to have a certain mindset about some teams. But if we all understand each other and care, we will be able to understand, and that will bring a lot of
success for the teams. Exactly. You have so much. We're going to try and get a lot
more. Let me just go to the case study of Steve Jobs.
Right.
Now, Steve Jobs is the founder of Apple, right? Now, he's recognized for the role of transforming Apple from a struggling company to the most valuable and innovative tech giants in the world. Now, one of the things he does is fostering the culture of collaboration and motivation. That has helped
the company
so much. Now, two things. His vision and leadership. His vision. Now, there are key words in his vision and leadership. That is communication, common goal, and aligned. He made sure that he communicated his goals. He made sure that he had a common goal first, and he communicated it to everyone.
Right.
And he made sure that people are aligned. And that is a key word. People must align. Now, for people to align with your goals, you need to have a way of cascading that by and getting their buy-in. Now, visions are set from the top, but what is the approach do you use to ensure that people buy in? Yes.
Right.
So set the goals, communicate it properly, and then let's get your people to align.
Right.
Now, cross-functional teams. He also there's something he did. He brought people together in teams. So the people from different departments, marketing, engineering, and operations, he brought everybody together for a common goal, and that's how come they were able to achieve.
Hold that thought for me. We want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get interactive so that our listeners can be a part of this conversation. We'll go for a commercial break right now.
when budgets are tight and money difficult to come by. You want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Your favorite on-air business development program, Joy Business Masterclass, is in session, and you can interact with us on Facebook via the Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Business pages. If you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM or at Joy Business GH. Don't forget to hashtag JB Masterclass. You can also call us on 0302 216541 or send your questions and contributions through to the WhatsApp number 0551 111997, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass. We're here in the studio with Laurenda Addy, CX consultant and founder and CEO of Laurel Consult. We're talking about collaboration for success, driving productivity through teamwork for internal service excellence. Phone lines are now open. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You can also send us your comments on 055 111 997. That's 055 111 997. If you're driving, please, it's raining out there, roads are slippery. Do not text while you drive. We definitely want you to arrive alive. But if you're not driving, send us your comments on 055 111 997 or pick up that phone. We want to hear your voice. Give us a call 0302 216 541. What's happening in your team? Are you working in a team? Do you run a team? Do you lead a team? What are the dynamics that's going on in your team? Is your team the best team? How did you grow to where you are? What are the learning points? Share with us so that we can all learn and become better for it. There are people who are now starting, people who intend to start, people who have already started. We can all share that information. Like I always say, life is too short to make all the mistakes yourself. So let's share that information and become better for it. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. Or pick up that phone and send us a comment on 055 11 997. Okay, so while we're waiting for those phone lines to ring, I think we can go ahead and I have some questions, but let's share some more of your content first.
Okay, so
Yes.
I spoke about the fact that teamwork can affect internal service.
Indeed.
And we want to
Indeed.
look at what internal service actually is. Because, most of the time, when we talk about customer service or customer experience, we look at the external customer.
That's correct.
But it all starts from within. Because if you're not serving an external customer, you are serving an internal customer who is serving an external customer.
True.
So whatever we do within affects the external customer. So internal service. So everyone who helps you, one way or the other to do your job is your internal customer.
internal
Or anybody you go to for assistance to enable you to do your job is an internal customer. Now, I think I'll go straight to what Amazon does. We know Amazon is well known for customer
Indeed.
satisfaction.
Indeed.
And people, their customer experience is very good. Now, it started from internal. They have very good internal service. Now, for the external, Amazon, Jeff Bezos would put, in every meeting they had an empty chair for a customer. Every meeting. So the empty chair symbolizes the presence of the customer, which means that they are customer centric and they focus on the customer. So that every decision they are making, look at that chair and say, the customer is right here. What would he think, or how would he affect the customer? So that's the way
impressive.
That's the way they think. So customer centricity in Amazon is very good, and it starts from within. And so Jeff Bezos insists that everyone internally sees their colleagues as their internal customer. Just the way as they see the external customer. So that's how that.
I was laughing earlier because I think that we're doing well as a country, but we could do better. So there are some of our business people who think that they do the customer a favor, and sometimes we raise our voice on the customer because they're asking too many questions, and we say, if you're going to make a purchase, otherwise get out of my shop.
I think that we've passed that era. The customer, they used to say that the customer is king, but the customer is kingmaker. Now they can decide to make or unmake you.
Exactly.
You hardly would you be able to tell a customer that if you won't buy. I think people.
But I think some people still do it.
Some people still do it, but that's out of ignorance because in this era you can't afford actually because the competition exactly. You're competing with so many other organizations in your industry. Indeed. So you don't have the choice. You can't do that. So speaking of Amazon issue, so they were customer centric and that helped them to achieve so much. You know, because that mindset ran through the organization, and so even internally, I treat you though you're my colleague, like I was treating the external customer, because whatever you're doing will impact our success in the long run.
I have a question here, and before I ask my question, though, just to remind us, our phone lines are still open. Numbers to call 0302-216-541. Pick up that phone, give us a call. Let's share some thoughts together and become better for it. You can also send us your comments on 055-1111-997. So my question is this: that initially when you started, you talked about sharing information and how sometimes leaders are reluctant to share information. Why do you think that is? Is it because people fear sabotage? People have had experiences in the past of sharing information and their businesses have been taken over, their customers have been moved. This happens even for churches. People break away and they take away a chunk of your business. But another school of thought says nobody can ever take away your business because there's too much in the open pie for somebody to take away your business. If you focus on your service, they can never take away what you have. So why are leaders sometimes reluctant to share information? I think I have a comment on social media before you answer that. This one says, "Good afternoon, Masterclass. Please ask for me what happens to a team if there's a conflict among one or two within the team, and whose duty is it to see that things work the way they should?" This is from Ajiman Joseph. Good afternoon to you, Ajiman Joseph. Thank you for reaching out. What happens when there's conflict within members of the team, and whose duty it is to see that?
So that's what we call conflict resolution, and there's definitely a team leader. I mean, it's a team lead. It could be your head of department, it could be your unit head, it could be your supervisor. I mean, so I think that the duty of those responsible for the team are supposed to make sure that these conflicts are resolved amicably. And so you hear both sides, and it's also very dicey because you, as a lead, you don't want to take sides. So you need to make sure you are hearing both sides and then try and settle it amicably.
And as a lead, that's the only side you have is the side of the company.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
You know, so I think there is
but if there are two individuals who have conflicts, probably that doesn't affect the organization. Maybe there's a strife, and that's affecting their work.
And their work is affecting
the bigger customer. Exactly.
There's another comment. This one is from Sarah Amanfo inside Winneba. Good afternoon to you, Sarah. It says, "Good afternoon, Yaw. To you and your wonderful guest. Great discussion with your guest on collaboration in a team. It says collaboration in a team is the key for team members to be good, to be bound together." Okay, I'm struggling to see this.
You can look.
So essentially, she's just saying that it's a great conversation and that collaboration.
Okay, so it's a comment. It's just it's not a question.
For team bonding. So thank you for your comment there, Sarah. Please keep them coming. Phone lines are still open. Numbers to call 0302-216-541. You can bring us some more comments on 055-11-1199. So you're going to answer that question on why leaders are reluctant to share full disclosure of information to their team members.
Yeah, I think that sometimes leaders tend to think that they need to release information piecemeal. That we don't need to give you the full picture. Exactly. So, but that also has its sides, you know, and that strategically that is not a bad idea because you want to know the full picture before you share the information.
Information overload.
Exactly. So it's also advisable not to give your team the full picture, but at least broach the topic, let them know what is going on, keep them updated as and when you need to. So it's a lot of wisdom that you need to use to be able to share. Yeah, that's it.
My question is, this team work in company organization, does it work at all in Ghana? Do employees really care about customer service? How often do companies train employees about teamwork? I had a very bad experience with, I won't mention the name of the company, with a company X exchanging words with me on the phone. And the question is, why? And it's from Dav, from Dansuman.
Okay. I think it all has to do with the organization culture.
Yeah.
Now, if you have not internally trained your staff to be customer centric and it comes over time.
Madam, please, you can't shout on me. You can't shout.
It's a process. I know you can't change culture overnight.
Yeah.
So it's something that
Learned behavior.
exactly something that you have to gradually inculcate in the organization. There are people who are just not trainable, who will not. No training can change them.
Untrainable.
Yes, those people you can have.
They're incorrigible.
Exactly. Those people you can have conversations with them and see what you can do. If you think that the roles they play are frontline roles and they don't really fit, you can try changing their roles just so that they don't interact. Move them around. Yes, but basically it's all about organizational culture, which you must drive from the top, and that includes everyone in the organization. And so this is how we do things here, and that's what everybody does. And so it goes with standards, it goes with personality traits, it goes with behaviors, what we do, and you cascade that down.
Yeah.
And the thing about training is that organizations must train their teams as regularly as possible. Train and train again. Yeah, that's
okay.
That you can never stop training.
I'll ask this final question. This one is on social media. It says, we need this topic back. Okay. We'll talk to my producer and see if we can bring it back. But this one says, people are a function of their orientation. People come from different places. They've had different experience and exposure. So when they come to a team, they come with all that they are that makes them different. How does a business owner manage all of these dynamics to achieve a synchronized forward march?
And that's why the culture program is very important, because our backgrounds are different.
Indeed.
We all met in this organization, but we all came from different backgrounds.
Okay.
People have different exposures, so the levels of exposure are different. Now, the organization must tell us how they want things done.
Right.
The organization must put in place a culture that is acceptable to all, that we must all follow. That's where the aligning comes to play.
I think I've got a caller on the line. Let me pick this one, and probably maybe my only call for today. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, yes, this is Admiral Joseph once again. I hope you're doing well.
I'm well, thank you, my brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, I want to know, is there any agreement or sanctions in terms of working with a team, and you have a contract with a certain company, and one way or the other, one member of your team decides to go along with the company? Should it be a case that company should seek your consent before, agreeing with that person to work with without working with you anymore?
Okay, please keep listening. So the question is asking was, a company provides a service to another company. Now, should there be a clause in the agreement between those two companies that prevents or prohibits the company receiving the service to hire the staff of the company providing the service?
That's a different conversation.
It's a different conversation. Yeah. But, Joseph, sometimes, let me help. Sometimes, if you anticipate that that's going to happen, you can put that clause in there.
Yeah, yes.
And you can even put a clause that says that even if anybody leaves your team for 2 years, they can't work
in that other team
with any other team that you are providing a service for. It's called a cooling off period. But yes, it can be done. I think that was a different question. So what I want you to do, Laurenda, we've run out of time, but I want you to speak directly to my business owners who are running teams and my team leads. Just one word that they will remember from this conversation. If they remember nothing at all, speak directly to them. What is a one thing that they should take away from this conversation? Business owners, team leads, supervisors, entrepreneurs, what is the one learning point that they should take away from this conversation? I know there are many, but just one.
I think that the most important thing is to make sure that your team stays together. Now, you got to let it work. So how do you do that? How do you bring your team together so that they can deliver results? So they can achieve your goals. Now, as a leader, you need to be able to work through your teams. You need to be able to use your team to achieve results. So how do you manage to do that? That's very important. How do you bond with them? How do you relate with them to be able to get the required results and to be able to let them align? And that's
so teamwork is critical. You are the team lead, you are the manager. Lead or manage. Collaboration for success, driving productivity through teamwork for internal service excellence. This has been Masterclass here on your Superstation. We'll be spending time with Laurenda Addy, CX consultant and founder and CEO of Laurel Consult. That's all time will allow us. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you same time next week.
Thank you very much for having me.